Good morning, everyone. Let's continue. Uh, Yesterday, we have seen how to use functions, right? So today we will see the few more things that are left in basic JavaScript, that is arrays and objects. And once that is done, we can start writing some programs. Okay. So before that, let me just add the script tag source. Are there any queries of yesterday's lecture? If anybody has any queries, they can put it in the chat box. Okay. Uh, Local in what sense, I mean? Because that function, anonymous function, cannot be reused unless it is assigned to a variable. So it will be local. Okay. So basically, I cannot reuse an anonymous variable, anonymous function directly unless I save it inside a variable. Okay. So usually we don't use anonymous functions, for reusability. We use it for, combining a block of code together. Okay. So you will see this anonymous functions a lot when we start working on, different commands. Okay. So let's move ahead. So the next thing that we're going to see is basically it's called as arrays. Okay. So now let's suppose I want to store, let's say ages. Okay. So I can do var age 1. Okay. So let's call it, let's say 21. Okay. So this is age 1. Then I have few more ages. So age 2, 23, then age 3. So like this, you can, create variables, right? But let's suppose you have 100 ages to be stored. Okay. So in that case, it is not possible to declare 100 such variables, right? So what we do is we instead declare a variable called age, and then we convert that age to an array. Okay. Now, how do we do that? It is very simple. You just declare a variable like we normally do. And then instead of assigning 21, we use square brackets. Okay. So square brackets, whenever you see square brackets, you should understand that it is an array. Okay. And here inside, you can just start typing the values of your ages that you want to store. So 21, 22, 25, 24, etc. Okay. So all these ages you have stored, and now you can see one variable holds all these ages. Okay. So now this is one way of doing it. Another way is using the this syntax, new array, and inside this you can again use. Okay. So this is also one of the ways. Okay. And actually this way is you can use it. The second method can be used, for declaring any variable, in fact. Okay. So if you have seen, let's suppose let me call name. Okay, so I am doing this, right? So this is what we have seen in the previous lectures, right? So it is simple, just var name equal to Shibu, right? But you can do the same thing with this command also. Okay, so you can say new string, okay, and inside that you can do Shibu. Okay, so both of them will produce the same result. Okay, so uh, but I prefer to use this particular syntax. Okay, it's completely your choice. So once you do this, now the thing is, how should I see whether the variable has that particular data or not, right? So simple, I will just do console.log. Okay, and if I just print age out, so you can see CONSOLE console. Okay, so you can see it prints out all the uh, variables. Okay, so all the data of that particular variable, that is array. Okay, now you can see the beauty of using console.log. Okay, so whenever you are debugging your program, this particular console.log is going to help you a lot. Okay, so I frequently use this, but in your final application you need not you will not be using console.log anywhere. Okay, so that is one thing to understand. Console log is only used for debugging purposes. Okay, so now I have seen the variable data, but let's suppose I want to access one particular variable or one particular location. Okay, so if I want to access that, I can simply do a square bracket and the index. Okay, so basically if you know C programming, you know how arrays work, right? So basically there are indexes. Okay, so the index starts from 0. So this is index 0. Okay, so at index 0 you have 21, at index 1 you have 22, index 2 25, like that. Okay, so let's say I want to get this particular value 25, that is at index 2, because this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. So I just write age of 2. Okay, and now if I save it, you can see I get 25. Okay, so basically this is how you can use arrays. Okay, so and you can get any particular element of an array from the elements. You can get any particular element basically using this particular syntax. Okay, so age, and inside square brackets you just have to specify the index. Okay, so now let me say that I want to print all these different ages. Okay, so let me just add a few more ages. Okay, so 27, 54, and 78. Okay, so I've added few more ages, and now what I want is I want to print all of them together onto the console. Okay, so I want to print everything on console. So one simple option would be to just console log age, but that will simply print an array, right? I don't want that. I want to print each and every element separately. Okay, so I am going to show you now different methods of how you can do this. Okay, so let's see the first method. Now for understanding the first method, you should understand what is length. Okay, so what is the length of your array? So let's see, let's do a console log, and instead of age and index, we will do age dot length. Okay, so let's see what happens when you do age dot length. Okay, so as soon as you do age dot length, you can see it gives you the value 7. Okay, so what this 7 means is you have 7 elements in your array. Okay, so you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Okay, so this is 7 is the count. Okay, so there are 7 number of elements. So now let us suppose I want to use this particular knowledge now to print all the elements individually. So for that, can anyone tell me right now how will you print all these things separately? Yes, Salik. Right, exactly. We will be using a simple for loop. Okay, for loop or while loop or do while, any loop will do. So let's do for loop. Okay, simple for loop will do it. Okay, so inside for loop, I will start with, let's say, I can use let. Okay, let or where, it's up to you. Okay, I prefer using let. And let, let's say I equal to, okay. Now here, if you recall, you can start with 1 or 0. Okay, but what will be the best value to start with? Should I start I equal to 0 or I equal to 1? What should be the best? 0. Okay, so why 0? Because arrays start from index 0. Okay, so if you start from 1, then when you access a particular uh, index, then you have to subtract 1 to get that particular. Okay, so basically you can do in both ways, but 0 will be much more easy. Okay, so I will start from 0, then the condition. Okay, so I want to print till the length of the length of the array. Okay, so that I know, I can get it from age dot length, right? So I can simply write this particular statement, I less than age dot length. Okay, and this will so you already know this is 7, right? Because there are 7 elements, right? So I will go from 0 to 6 because it is less than. Here it is less than, so it will go 1 less. Okay, so if age or age dot length is 7, then it will go from 0 to 6, and 0 to 6 means how many iterations it is going to go? 0 to 6 means how many iterations? 7 iterations, right? So I have this now, and now I want to increment after each iteration. So I will just do I plus plus. Okay, now once this is done, my for loop is done. Now inside I have to write some statement. Okay, so that statement is, I want to print each and every element separately. So I can simply write console dot log. Okay, and inside that I will just write age, and age of, now I is having my index, right? So I will write age of I. Okay, so once I do that, you can see I am getting all my ages. So 21, 22, 25, 34, 27, 54, 78, all these things, right? So you can see this is a simple way of, printing out each and every. So inside this for loop, what you want to do is completely up to you. Okay, so maybe you're trying to check some conditions, or you're trying to check something else. Okay, or you're trying to check if a particular age is there or not. Okay, so searching like, is there any person with the age of 25? Okay, so you can use an if condition over here. Okay, and you can go through each of these, and if there is a 25, you print yes. Okay, or something like that. Okay, so that can be done. Okay, so this is the first method of doing this. Now I will show you the second method, that is, my favorite, that is for in. Okay, so for in is something like this. Okay, so it's again, it looks like for loop, uh, but it is a variation of for loop. Okay, it is usually used for arrays. Okay, so arrays and objects, you can use it for anything. So basically this particular I think foreign cannot be used for objects. Let's see. Okay, so for the usage of this is very simple. You need to have an array that you want to uh, go through. Okay, so all you have to do is you just have to declare a variable. Let's say var ele. Okay, so any name of the variable. This particular variable name is your choice. You can put it anything. Okay, and then you just have to mention in and the array. Okay, so basically in this particular case, what you're trying to do is you are defining a variable. Okay, and you are trying to say in age. Okay, so this particular for loop is going to do is it is going to take each and every element from age and assign it to ELE. Okay, so basically in the first iteration you are going, the ELE value will be 21. Okay, in the second iteration ELE value will be 22 and 25, like that. Okay, now here the advantage is that you don't have to worry about this age dot length or doing I plus plus. So all these things you don't have to worry. Okay, so I will show you how you can print the same thing. Okay, so you can see instead of age of I will just do ELE. Okay, now if I save it, you can see I get the same result. Okay, but this time instead of what do you say, values, I am getting the indexes. Okay, now to get the index value, what I should do, here I'm getting the indexes. So to get the value, what should I do? Once you have the index, how to get the value from an array? Yes, exactly. So I just have to do age in square brackets ELE. Okay, so this will give you the same result as the previous one. Okay, any doubts still here? Okay, so let me just change this to I. So that would be, I think, better. And let this be let. Okay. So doesn't make any difference as such, but because it's inside the for loop, I like to use let to define it. Okay. And because it is giving the index, so I just renamed ELE to I. Okay. So it does not make much difference, but it's a good practice. Okay, Amin Ali, is this type of declaration, is iteration value fixed to I plus plus? No, there is no I plus plus over here. Okay, so it's basically it's like this particular syntax can be used for what do you say, objects also, I think. Okay, so we will see that. I will show you once we reach that particular syntax. So in that case your keys themselves will be not 0 1 2 3 like that. Okay, so it will be let's say name or email address, email, mobile, like that will be the keys. Okay, in that case you can use this to iterate over that also. Okay, so there is nothing called I plus plus because you're not incrementing the index, you are just getting the index. Okay, so whatever is the index, so in this particular case, because we have not mentioned any index, in that case the index starts from 0 1 2 3, like. Okay, and when we now next part is going to be objects. Okay, so in that you will see how to specify the index also. Okay, so in that case again we can we will be using this to iterate over that also. So there is no I plus plus going on over here. It is just taking the index, whatever is the index, and it is giving you back the index. uh, it cannot be increased or decreased. It is basically it is not working like a for loop. Okay, so it is working uh, more like it is extracting one element at a time. Okay, so there is no what do you say, increment or decrement counter over here, like in the for loop. Okay, so this is different from this. Okay. uh, for other languages, like in case of, if you are talking about PHP, then there is for each, uh, in case of PHP, which works similar to this. Okay, not exactly same, but somewhat similar to this. And uh, you can, no, for other languages like Python, I'm not aware of, because I'm not into Python much. But C programming, I don't know. No, I don't think C programming we have something like this. I don't recall. Okay, but this particular syntax of for in is, very helpful in case of, when you are iterating through the arrays. Okay, so you don't have to worry much about incrementing or checking the condition, etc., etc. Okay. Okay, is it more useful for key value pair? I think. Yeah, exactly. So it is more useful in that particular scenario. Okay. Yes, you can take input with the help of this for loop. Okay, because you, in this particular for loop, you can control how many times this iterations should run. Okay, but in this case you cannot control how many times this particular for loop will run. Okay, because this for loop will run based on what is the size of your array. Okay, so it has nothing to do with, basically you can see this for loop is more controllable. Okay, so you can decide how many iterations, like for example, instead of age dot length, if I say 100, okay, so it will run 100 iterations. So this particular thing you can do. Okay, but in this particular case you cannot. Okay, so in this case it's not possible. So that's why, for taking input, I would suggest you to go for this one. Okay, that is normal for loop or while loop or do while loop. But in case of whenever you are going through arrays or objects, then you go for foreign. Okay. Okay, so let's move ahead and see the last method. Okay, so the last method is pretty similar to this one. Okay, and it is not exactly similar, but you can look at this. So it is basically a property of age. Okay, so you can see age dot now for each. Okay, so if it's an array, you can use this particular syntax. Okay, so age for each, and inside this you can, what you can provide is a callback. Okay, so now whenever I say a callback means a function which can handle it. Okay, so so how to define a callback? You just come down over here, function, and let's say display age. Okay, so I just created a function, and that particular function is going to get some input. Okay, so that is going to be age. Okay, and let's not sorry, let's not confuse it. Let's take ele. Okay, so for element, and I'm getting this particular, what do you say, function, and here I am going to do console.log ele. Okay, so ele, and this is the function that I've created. Obviously you're not calling this function, so nothing will be displayed. But for this particular thing to work, you need a callback as the first argument. Okay, so for that I will just provide this. name of the function as the callback. And if you save it, you can see it gives me the same result. Okay. So you can see it is providing me with all the data. Now, obviously, in this particular case, you can replace this callback with an anonymous function. Okay. So this is where, anonymous functions plays an important role. Okay. So now if you do not have anonymous functions, then you can see what exactly happens. So you have a callback over here, and you come down over here, and here is your actual code which runs. Okay. So basically, this particular uh, property, what it is doing is, it is as soon as it encounters this, it now tries to call this particular function. Okay. Now it is calling this function, it is coming over here and running this particular function. Right. Now let's assume your code is a huge code. Okay. Let's say 1,000 lines of code. And if you do something like this, okay, so now let's say this is not in your view. Okay. So this is not in your view. This is like this. Okay. So this particular function is somewhere down. Okay. So when you look at this, what do you think? What is this? It looks like a variable, right? So that is the problem when we use, call functions, callback using normal functions. Okay. So to avoid this particular confusion, it is better in such cases to use anonymous functions. Okay. Now how to convert this particular thing into anonymous function? It is very simple. In anonymous function, there will be no name. So instead of this particular way, I'm just going to replace the entire function over here and delete the name. Okay. So I don't need the name. Once this is done, my anonymous function is ready. Okay. So this is, you can see it gives me the same result. Okay. Okay. So this is another way of doing the same thing. Okay. So I have shown you 3 ways of how you can iterate through your arrays. Okay. The first one is using for loop. The second one is using for in, and the third one is using for each. Okay. Now, one thing to remember, this is capital E. Okay. So that you should understand. Okay. So any queries? Okay. Can anyone tell me how to convert this particular function into an arrow function? Right now, this is an anonymous function. Can anyone tell me what is the steps to convert any function, any anonymous function, into an arrow function? Yes, Anwar, that is the first step is correct. So there are 2 steps involved. Okay. The first step is to remove this function keyword. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is the second step? So in arrow function, there has to be an arrow, right? So where to put the arrow? Okay. I will show you again how this thing works. Okay. So basically there are 2 steps involved. The first step is to remove function. Okay. So that step is done. And the second step is you have to put an arrow in between this round bracket and this curly bracket. Okay. So in between that, you have to put an arrow. Arrow is equal to sign and a greater than sign. Okay, so this looks like an arrow, that's why we call this function, entire function, as arrow function. Okay, now the removing the curly braces is optional. Okay, so in most of the cases I never remove the curly braces, but if you have only one statement inside, then you can remove this curly braces also. Okay, so that will reduce the program considerably. Okay, so you can see this is my final program, and now the multi-line code becomes now a single line code. Okay, so this is how it works. Yes, Alia, right. Okay, so once this is done, let me just undo. Okay, so let me undo, and I'm not using arrow functions. Okay, so I'm using just, so whatever I'm going to do next, it is same for whether it is arrow function or normal function, normal anonymous function. Okay, so now you have seen this particular syntax, right? So let's suppose now I've got the element, right? But I want the index of the element, right? Like for example, in this for loop, you can get the index by I. Okay, so I is basically your index. So when you want to get the element, you are doing age of I. Okay, in the foreign case, there also this I is your index. So to get the element, you are doing age of I. Okay, but in case of for each, you can see this element is actually the element itself and not the index. Okay, so in this case, now how to get the element, sorry, how to get the index? You're in this case, you're not getting the index, you are just getting the element directly. So what is the process to get the index also? Okay, so I want the index as well as the element, both of them together. Can obviously I will first show you how you can get it. uh, I will tell you the exactly which all are the parameters that this particular this anonymous functions can have. Okay, so the first parameter is mandatory parameter called the element. Okay, so the name of the variable is up to you. You can put it as a comma b comma c. It is up to you. Okay, so I have selected the name element. Okay, ele. Then the second parameter is the index. Okay, and that is optional. If you want it, you can get it. Okay, so I'm just putting I as the second parameter. So now I have two things. One is the element now, and second is the index. So if I want to print two things onto the console, I can just add a comma and print ele and I. Okay, so you can see now it is printing 21 is at index 0, 22 is at index 1. Okay, so you can see how you can retrieve index also with the help of for each command. Okay, similarly, there is a third parameter, that is let's say array. Okay, so this array is nothing but age. Okay, so we actually don't need that, so let's forget. So basically we will be needing these two things. Okay, in many of the cases you may also need to get the index. Okay, like when you're creating a table, so there when you print something onto a table, then you may also need an index to print along with the data. Okay, so that's why this is also very important, but this is optional. If you do not provide it, then only element will be returned. Okay, so any doubts still here? Shabina Sheikh sir is asking, sir, can we pass id or class as an argument? Where is id and class? um, where have I used an ID or a class? Shabina, I didn't get your question. I have not used an ID or a class over here. Okay, any other queries? So there are many more functions in, like for each, there are many more functions that I will show you a few of them, but majority of them you can study, because we study these things as and when required. Okay, so for example, this for each, when we start writing some application, at that time we may need to iterate over a particular array, so that time we will need this. Okay, so I've just shown you this so that you understand what actually these things are, and in the next session I will show you a few more functions related to arrays. At that time you will see how many functions are there. Yes, you can pass an array. Hussein Painter is asking, can you pass an array as a array to a function? Yes, you can. Okay, you can pass a function to a function also. So there is, in JavaScript it is flexible. Okay. Okay, so before we start with other uh, before we start with objects, I would like to show a few more things about arrays. Okay, so let's see, look at the first one. Okay, so let's suppose I want to check something. Okay, let's say, mm, let's do, what are the ages? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to check if all the ages are above 18 or not. Okay, so I want to check that. So can anybody tell me what will be the program for checking that, whether the age is above 18 or not? Okay, so the program will be simple. You can see, look at this particular, you can apply it with any of the for loops. Okay, so what will you will do is you will just replace this with if condition. Okay, if age of I, okay, age of I is less than or equal to 18. Okay, I can say console.log, and I will say less. Okay, so basically I'm just checking uh, the each and every, what do you say, ages, and if it is less than or equal to 18, I'm just printing less. Okay, so if I save it and if I run it, you can see nothing is displayed because all the ages are above 18. Okay, so let me change one of the ages to 12. Okay, so once I do that, yeah, where is it? Okay, so it is here. So basically there are so many outputs, so let me comment all these things. Okay, so once this is done, let's try again. So you can see I get less once. Okay, so basically let me clear everything and let's try it once more. Okay, so I'm getting this right. So let's suppose what I want to do is I want to check whether each and every element is greater than 18 or not. Okay, so this is what I have to check, right? So you can use another method over here. Let me show you. So this is one way of doing it. Okay, another way of doing it is in arrays you get like for each you get another method called every. Okay, so you get every. Now every also takes a callback. Okay, so again the callback is similar to this. Okay, so let me just copy this from here and paste it over here. Okay, so this callback here I can this every command, it should you should return true or false. Okay, so basically what you have to do is if the every command will return true if all the elements or all the element functions returns true. Okay, and if any one of them returns false, the every command will return false. Okay, so let me show you. I will just copy this particular command. Okay, paste it over here. Okay, and instead of doing console.log, because it is a function, I will do return. Okay, so return, and let's return false. Okay, and otherwise I will do else return true. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to do over here is if age is less than equal to 18, I am returning false. And if age is or otherwise I'm returning true. Okay, if it is greater than 18, then I'm returning true. Okay, so once I do this, now you will see there is as such there is no difference right now, but I can save this output to some variable. Okay, so let's call it eligible. Okay, so this is the variable to which this every function is, whatever the output of eligible every function is going to be stored in eligible. Okay, so now let us see what eligible is. Console.log, and let me just copy this and paste. Okay, and you see it is giving you false. Okay, so false means that at least one of the element is less than 18. Okay, so that is what this particular statement means. Okay, so instead of this, let's say I take it back to 20, and now if I save it, let's see what happens. You can see now it gives you true. Okay, so that means all the ages are above 18. Okay, so this is the use of every method. So in every method you can put any condition inside, but at the end you should either return true or false. Okay, so if all the elements return true, okay, it's like an and condition. Okay, so for every element it is going to check whether the function has returned true or not. If any one of the element returns false, then that particular output is going to be false. Okay, final output is going to be false. Okay, next next statement, let's see filter. Okay, so let's see filter. Okay, so you can see this particular function again uh, is almost the same. Okay, so in this particular case, the filter function, what it does is it basically returns you what do you say, all the elements which you are going to send true. Okay, so let's say for example age dot filter, right, and it is now iterating through each and every element. Like for example the first iteration will be 21. Okay, so it will come over here inside this function and it will work on 21. Okay, and inside this what you have written is 21 less than equal to 18. Okay, so here you can say, let's say return false or return true. Okay, but this filter function works only when you return true. Okay, so when you return true, that particular element will be filtered and saved into a new array. Okay, so let's suppose Now let me show you what is the importance of this particular filter function. Now what I want is I want to get uh, all the ages which is greater than 50. Okay, so I want to filter this array and get only those elements which are greater than 50. Okay, so how to do it? Obviously I can do this, and you can use create a new array manually and put it all inside that particular array. But using this filter method, it is going to be very easy. Let me show you how. Okay, so the condition is, let me take the ELE. Okay, I think I did a mistake before, I don't know. Okay, anyway, so ELE. Okay, so this is the element, right? So element less than equal to I, or less than equal to, no, what do I want? I want greater than 50, right? So I will say greater than equal to 50, right? And if this is the case, then I'm going to return true. So if element is greater than equal to 50, then I'm going to return true. Okay, so you can see the output. The output gives me only 54 and 78. Okay, so this is the good part about this, that it went through each and every element. So it went through 21. Is 21 greater than 50? No. Okay, so it returned false. Then 22 false, 20 false, 34 false, 27 false, but 54 is greater than 50. So this, for this it returned true, and for 78 also it returned true. Okay, so this function returned true. And what filter does is it takes all the true elements and creates a new array and stores it inside eligible. Okay, so that is what the array that you see over here is. Okay. Okay, so that was filter. Okay, and let me just comment everything out. Okay, now let's come back and I will show you two more methods. Okay, so console.log, and let's do age. Okay, so when I do this, you can see it prints out the entire array. Okay, so that is fine, that we already know. But let's say I want to add one more element to the end of the array. How to add? Can anybody tell me? I want to add 30, age 30 to the end of the array. How can I add? Any ideas? Append. Okay. Push, exactly. So we use the command push. Okay, so without using push also we can do it. Okay, so for that I can use age. Okay, and inside this I have to give the index of the last array. Okay, so what is the index of the last array, last element? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the next element should be 7, right? So I can give 7 over here, right? And I can save some value over here, let's say 45. Okay, and if I save it, okay, now it is here. Okay, so I get the value of 45 at the end. Okay, so this is one way of doing it, but it's not possible to each and every time calculate how many elements are there, right? So what will be the next best option? I may be able to use age.length. Okay, so that also gives me the same result. Why? Because what is age.length? age dot length is going to give you number of elements, right? Just a minute. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so age dot length gives you uh, the size of the array, right? And what is the size of the array? So there are 7 elements. So the size of the array itself will be 7, right? And luckily, the size of the array and the next index is the same, right? So I can do age dot length over here, and that also gives me the last location. Okay, but all these things are fine, but there is another way in which you can do this. Okay, so that is using age dot push. Okay, so you can do push, and inside that you can do 45. Okay, so this method will also work. Okay, it is the same thing. Instead of here, you don't have to worry about what index you have to put in. Okay, so index is taken care by push. Okay, so it will automatically go to the last part, last location, and put 45 over there. Okay, so you can see this is how it looks. Okay, so I can now copy this and paste it over here and change the age to something else. So now it will put 23 over there. Okay, so you can see this is also a very good option. Okay, now if you want to remove element, okay, so if you want to remove something from the end, okay, so let's say I added 23. Let's say I just let me remove everything. Okay, and I want to remove this 78 from the end. Okay, so if I want to remove 78 from the end, I can just uh, do pop. Okay, so if I do age dot pop, you can see it removes the last element. You can see over here it removes the last element. So like that you can keep on removing each and every element. Okay, so that is possible. And like this, there are many other functions that like there is split, there is sort, then there is join. Okay, let me show you join. That is very important. So let's say I have these particular elements. Okay, and I want to join them together. Okay, like for example, I want a big number now, which is 212220342227, like this. Okay, so basically whenever you want to convert your array to a string, you use this particular what do you say function, that is join. Okay, so when you do this age dot join, um, and let's add a space over here. Okay, and what it gives you is the result. Okay, and it gives you the result in a variable, but since I'm not joining it, sorry, I'm not storing it anywhere, so it is not showing you anything, right? So what I can do is I can do, since I'm let me just comment this out and do, let us save this into a variable age string. Okay, so I've just created a new variable called age string, and whatever is the output of this is getting stored into age string. Okay, so now let me print, instead of age, I'm going to print age string. Okay, so let's see what is the output. Okay, so you can see it joins everything. Okay, so this join command basically converts this array into a string. Okay, and it joins it with a space. Okay, now if you remove the space and put, let's say, dot. Okay, so it will join it with dots. Okay, so now usually this is used for, you know, converting things into CSV format, so where you can just add a comma and this will create a comma separated variable. Okay, so this is helpful when you export your contents to Excel file. Okay, so there you can use this particular format, so you can use this. Okay, and there is also an option to split. Okay, so for that you can convert a string to an array using split. Okay, so the syntax there also is the same. You just do string dot split and the way the character by which you want to split. Okay, so that we will see a little later, but for the time being this is enough. Okay, so like this there are many such functions, and for you to go through all these functions I will just tell you a web page. Okay, so this is the website that I frequently refer. Okay, so this is a nice little website. Now it is completely up to you, whichever website you like or online resources you like. Now this is what I am suggesting you. Okay, so this will have, you know, section wise all the commands with detailed explanation. Okay, like for example, you can see the split command over here. Okay, that is related to strings, and you can see all the array related commands. So you can see slice command and splice commands. Okay, then every that we have seen, there is some command also, filter, and you know, this map command is also very important. Okay, so all these commands based on the requirement, we may learn it. Okay, because if you look at the complete commands that are there inside JavaScript, no, it will be very difficult for you to grasp everything. Okay, so it is a bit, what do you say, vast, I can say. Okay, and this is not the only thing. You can look from here that what other things are there. So ES6 is the, you know, the standardization of JavaScript. So ES6 is the latest. So they have also proposed many different. So you can see the let and where is one of their what do you say, contributions. So initially there was only where. Okay, but then they found out the problem with where, that is the variables that go into the global scope. So they introduced let. Okay, so like that there are many things that are there. Okay, you can see here arrow functions that I've shown you. Okay, so there is this template literals also, I think. Yes, so all these things we will see later. Okay, and very important is this promises concept. Okay, so if anybody is interested in going ahead and looking at all these things, so they can refer this website. Okay, so now this is it for arrays. Now let's move on to a very important topic, that is objects. Okay, so let's start a new code pen. Okay, so let's start the console. Okay, so let's see how we can write an object. Okay, so what is an object? So object is basically whenever you want to store elements of different types in one variable. Okay, like for example, you have a number, you have a string, you have a float value. So all these things, the different things you want to store in a particular variable, then you create objects. Okay, and the best part about objects is objects can also store functions. Okay, so it can store basically anything, right? So let's see how to declare a object. So let's say, let's call this as a student. Okay, so basically I'm creating an object called student, and the object and array differ uh, in a very simple way, that it uses, object uses a curly braces. So whenever you see a curly brace in a variable definition, you should understand that it is a object. Okay, and if it's a square, then it is a what do you say, array. Okay, so that is very important to notice. Okay, now inside that, objects are basically will have a key and a value. Okay, so basically let's say, let's start with the first, that is name. Okay, and it is separated by colon. Okay, so this is the key, and here I can have anything. Okay, the value can be a string, can be a float, can be a number or anything. Okay, so let's add a string. So my name I will add. Okay, so this is a simple object, right? So let's add another property. Let's add, let's say, location. The location is, let's say, Vasai. Then let's say, let us add pin code. Okay, and the pin code is, let's say, 401202. Okay, and this is a number over here. Then let's add um, distance. Now distance is, sorry, I forgot to add a comma. Okay, so distance is, let's say, 45.3. Okay, that is in kilometers. Okay, so this is my object. Okay, so you can see I can have any type of data inside an object. Okay, so here first two are strings, the second one is integer, and the third one is a float. Okay, so you can have any such things, and in fact you can have object inside object also, right? So all these things, so let us keep it simple for the first one. Okay, and now once we have this, now if we want to print it again, console log does everything. Okay, so I can just see console, I always forget n. Okay, console dot log and student. Okay, so once I do this, and you can see your console says it is an object. Okay, so it is an object with these parameters inside it. Okay, so it's very simple to create objects. And let's suppose I want to get any particular, now here in case of objects, you don't have indexes which are numbers. Okay, so in case of arrays, you saw that the index is 0 1 2 3 4 like that. Okay, but in case of objects, the index is named. Okay, so these are named indexes. Okay, so you have an index called name, you have an index called location, like that. Okay, so if I want to access any particular index, okay, so let's say I want to find out what is the name of the student. Okay, so I have to access this particular index, right? So what is the value of this particular index? So for that, you just have to do student, and instead of uh, this thing, you just use dot. Okay, and dot and name. Okay, so the key, and once you do that, it shows you the value is Shibu. Okay, so this is one way of doing it, right? So uh, name of the object, then dot operator is very important. Dot operator will get inside that particular object, and after the dot operator it should be the key. Okay, and the key is any one of these. Okay, so I have printed the name. Let's say I want to print the distance. Okay, so to print the distance, you can see I have used this, and it has printed 45.3 as the distance. Okay, okay, any doubts still here? Okay, so basically there is this is one way of doing this, with that is using dot operator. Okay, so you normally we will use dot operator to access any particular data inside the object. Okay, but you can also use sorry, you can also use the the square brackets. Okay, so this is also one way of doing it. So you can see it also gives you the same result. Okay, so now you may think, why do we need two methods for accessing the same thing? Okay, so this is I like to call it as the array way of doing it. Okay, it's not an array, but still, since we are using square brackets to access it, and in case of the previous method, it is the actual object way of doing it. Okay, but then this method is very important, because when you when your key is stored in some other variable. Okay, like for example, let's suppose uh, let key is equal to, okay, so the key itself is stored in another variable, right? So if this is your case, okay, so in this case you cannot use the previous method. Okay, so in this case you can simply replace, you can do this. Okay, in this particular syntax. But if you do the previous one, let's try. Okay, so if you do this dot key, okay, so if you do this, you can see it gives you undefined. Okay, so this is where the previous method, that using the dot operator to access a particular object, fails. Okay, so this particular type of scenario you will face many times when you are iterating through a object. Okay, so whenever you are iterating through an object, you will find this problem to be to access any particular element. Let me show you an example. At that time you will understand. Okay, so I have this particular object, and I want to go through each one and print them out. Okay, so for that, which method can I use? Can anyone tell me? Can I use a for loop, or can I use for in, or for each, or anything? Can I use a for loop over here? Normal for loop. Can I use a for loop? Anybody can tell me? Okay, so Amina Kazi is asking, the ID and class we put in HTML, can we pass those as arguments to the function in JS? Okay, so I right now we are not dealing with DOM. Okay, so in the next week we are going to deal with DOM. Okay, So there I will show you how you can pass ID, class, or anything. In fact, any basically all selectors can be done using JavaScript also. Okay, so at that time you will see this particular thing. Okay, for the time being we are just learning about basic JavaScript. Once we know that, then we can go ahead and learn about DOM, because DOM is where the actual magic is going to happen. Okay, okay, so how that is where I'm going to interact with my HTML files. Okay, okay, so anybody has any idea of whether I can use for loop over here? Can I use a normal for loop in an object? No. Okay, why no? Because for loop you cannot use, because for loop to work there has to be an numbered index. Okay, so in case of arrays you have seen the index is 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, so that you can store it in I and then you can use it. Okay, but in this case you can see the index itself is not numbered, it is named index. Okay, so when it is a named index, then what is the use of I over here? Okay, so I is the what do you say, the number. Okay, so the number of the location, but there is no location over here. Okay, so there is no index over here. The index is basically named index, so you cannot use for each over here. Okay, so for each is obviously cannot be used because this is not an array, but you can use for in. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Okay, so for uh, var sorry, let. Okay, you can use any, but I prefer using uh, sing one. Okay, so I named it one student. Okay, anything, you can name it anything, and the keyword is in student. Okay, so this particular syntax you should remember. So the first one is you're trying to declare it. Okay, so this can be var or let. Then this is the name of the variable in which each and every element, sorry, not name of the variable, name of the index. Okay, so this index will be stored inside one student. Okay, so each iteration will store this index, then this index, then this index, and then this index inside one student. Okay, and from which array, sorry, which object you want to get that indexes, that is student. Okay, so this in is very important. Once I get that, let us now do console.log, and let's try to print one student. What is the value of one student? Let's see, what do we get? Okay, so you can see what we have got is name, location, pin code, and distance. So that is what we have got: name, location, pin code, and distance. But this is not what we want, right? What we want is these values. Okay, so how to get these values? Now here is where you understand when to use dot and when to use square brackets. Okay, so let's suppose if you use dot operator. Okay, so let's see, student dot one student. Okay, so if this is what you're going to do, then what do we get? Undefined. Why? Because if the value is stored inside a variable, then the dot operator does not work. Okay, so in such cases you will have to use square brackets. Okay, so let's use square brackets over here, and now if I run it, you can see I get the perfect value. Shibu was say 401202 and the data. Okay, so any doubts? Any queries? How can we print named index with actual values? So that is what we have printed over here. If you want to print both of them, then you can actually do a comma in console log and you can print both of them. Okay, so I'm adding one student, then I'm also getting the value. So you can see I'm getting name Shibu, location Vasai, pin code 401202 and distance 45. Okay. Okay, so I think our time is done for today. So we will see you on Tuesday. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. Okay. Thank you, everyone.